In this episode, we have a new microphone in the studio for review, another one from ElectroVoice for the first time in almost 2 years. I've been super stoked to get this review out to you guys, and I just haven't had the time. I'm finally sitting down today, getting this review done of this gorgeous microphone, and comparing it to the old workhorse I've been using, the RE20, and we're going to check it out right after this. This video is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the best tool you can get to manage your YouTube channel, update videos in bulk, syndicate to social media, and back up your metadata and more, all with this simple browser extension. Head on over to eposvox.com/TubeBuddy to download it for free and learn more. TubeBuddy! Download for free! Learn more! I love it! I'm EposVox, here to make tech easier and more fun and provide some pretty cool microphone comparisons and reviews and things like that as well. I hope. Today we're taking a look at ElectroVoice's kind of big brother to the RE20, which is one of the broadcast standard microphones and what I have been using for a very long time now, the RE27ND. Now, again, this is considered to be the big brother or big sister or whatever to the RE20, and it has a couple new options compared to it as well. First and foremost, the physical form factor, as you can sort of see here compared to the original, is mostly the same, except for instead of the weird beige, gray-ish color, you get a nice shiny silver. So if you want the EP microphone but don't want to go for the complete gold option, you can get a nice little flashier one here. Not that I think anyone should do that with their microphone choices, but if that's what you want, the RE27ND is a much more bling-friendly microphone, I guess. Size-wise, it fits all of the same mounts as the normal RE20 and RE320 and so on does. Same shock mount, I'm using the RE20 shock mount here, same normal mount, and it also has the 1-inch pop filter within the capsule here, within the front part here as well, which is really nice to see. And for the most part, it has the same pickup pattern as well, as you don't lose a whole lot of equalization off to the different sides, but then once you get behind, it really starts cutting you out. If you could hear that at all. If not, my point still stands. One thing you may notice compared to my normal desktop recordings is this microphone is a little bit brighter. It has a little bit more high end, a little bit more on the top end than the RE20. But you have a switch for that. You actually have 3 switches, 3 different adjustment switches on this microphone compared to the one on the RE20 or a completely different one on the RE320. And I had to write these down because I never remember what switches are because I pretty much never use them because the flat profiles all work pretty much the same for me. So the left switch is pretty much the same switch that's on the RE20. It's a bass roll-off switch, or some people call it a high-pass filter, just minus 6 dB on the bass end. Rolls it off in case you have someone who just has the most bassiest voice in the world, which I don't even have. Or if you have a, more accurately, if you have a low rumble of like a vending machine or something weird in your recording environment, you can try to cut it out with that switch. You have a second one, which is an even bigger roll-off for the bass, which is the middle switch, and it can make your audio sound very, very thin. But again, if you have some sort of crazy background noise, it can clear out that noise. Then the third switch is actually what I want to call a high pass filter, but a top cutoff to make the voice a little bit smooth. If you have someone who has a little bit of a harsher high end to their voice, you can cut that off. Again, I have found that the flat option on all of these switches works best for my voice, at least as far as I can tell. I get some criticism thrown at some of my voiceover recordings anyway, so who knows? But for my purposes, I have found that the flat profile works best, and when I did try to use the high roll-off, I thought it might make my things a little bit smoother. I found it just kind of, I don't know, it made it feel a little muffled for me, but that's just me, and again, I'm not an expert. I've just been using microphones for a long time and have some experience reviewing them and just want to try to help out here. So this is what it sounds like raw. I've been using it the whole time. It's running into a Natty PRA8, I believe, preamplifier. It's cranked up to about 95, 98%. With that top percent of a preamp, you reach that range of it either just gets way too freaking loud like, you know, it goes from way too quiet to way too loud too quickly, or you introduce background hiss and stuff, and I'm trying to avoid that. So it's about 98, 95% cranked up on the gain, and then run straight into my mixer with no processing or post-processing or anything applied. This is what it's going to sound like out of the box, assuming you have decent preamps. If you don't have decent preamps, but you have phantom power, because again, this is a dynamic microphone, then you can use something like the Cloudlifter CL1, or the FET head, which is a kind of inline preamplifier that uses phantom power to power itself and can provide you a much cleaner signal. I covered that a little bit in my reviews of the RE20 and the RE320. This microphone is a little bit hotter than the RE20, but it's still going to need a preamp. It's still going to need a pretty solid preamp, so keep that in mind. I did mention that it is a dynamic microphone, which means that it does a great job of rejecting background noise because it kind of cuts off very quickly as soon as you stop talking without the need for a noise gate. I stop talking and the levels go down to 0. It's a cardioid pattern, which means from about here on the microphone forward, it picks up, but then you move around to the back, it starts to reject it. And I'm going to pull up a tone here on my phone for us to test that, and you can kind of get a general idea. Not the most scientific test in the world, but what have you. And the microphone itself does not need phantom power itself. That's for condenser microphones and things like that. This microphone will run without it. You just still need a decent preamp. All right, so I'm cranking up some static white noise on my phone here, and hopefully this will help give you an idea of the pattern rejection. All right, that test was a little loud. Again, not super scientific or helpful, I'm experimenting with this. So again, this is what it sounds like raw. We're going to have a couple tests here where I'm running it through my DBX286S, which is a processing box, which applies an EQ compressor and things like that, as well as a sample comparison to the RE20 on that. But first, let's go ahead and switch over to the RE20 just raw so you can get an idea of what this sounds like. And I'm going to read a couple quotes here just to get a baseline of what this sounds like, and then I will intercut them between each other so that you can hear a sample. Invention, my dear friends, is 93% perspiration, 6% electricity, 4% evaporation, and 2% butterscotch ripple. Invention, my dear friends, is 93% perspiration, 6% electricity, 4% evaporation, and 2% butterscotch ripple. Did you ever look at a dollar bill, man? There's some spooky stuff going on there, and it's green, too. Did you ever look at the dollar bill, man? There's some spooky stuff going on there. And it's green, too. So this is the RE20 raw. Again, I don't usually record with it raw. I usually record with it in the DBX286S, that is a mouthful, box that I usually record it into. And something I will note is this thing needs so much preamp. This is currently at the same preamp crank level as the RE27 is, and I will show you a comparison of the raw levels themselves. It is so much quieter, and it needs a lot more either post amplification or to just crank it up the rest of the way and risk introducing hiss, unless you want to use something like a Cloudlifter on top of the normal preamp, which is a little obnoxious. So this is what it sounds like raw. This is a test. Test 1 2 3. Now let's hook it up and run it through some processing.
You may proceed.
So for this first sampled test here, we have the Electro-Voice RE20, the base model that I normally use, hooked up to the DBX286S, which is an audio processing box. It is an amazing piece of hardware that goes between your microphone and whatever you're hooking it up to digitize the recording, and can provide basically what I made my original audio rack out of multiple processing pieces, and do it all at once. So it has a very good preamp, a compressor, a decent equalizer, and so on. And I will post a picture of the settings I use. I'm not the best at figuring out equalizers or compressors or anything like that. I am learning as I go. So it may not be the best settings, which is why I'm not, putting the whole weight of this review on the processing box. But I did want to provide a sample baseline here of what I normally would sound like within my videos. This is my normal recording environment. My desktop computer is on, another desktop computer is on, my server rack is still going behind me, my cat is snoring and moving around. There's some background noise, but hopefully, you get a picture of what the microphone is picking up. This will be provided with no additional software processing added over top. Invention, my dear friends, is 93% perspiration, 6% electricity, 4% evaporation, and 2% butterscotch ripple. Now let's flip over to the RE27ND hooked up to the exact same setup. Alright, so now I've swapped out the RE20 for the RE27ND, which is the main focus of this review. I do already have an RE20 review up there from January 2016-ish. It's been a while, but I still use the mic as my daily driver. This is the big brother, the RE27ND, again, hooked up to the DBX286S, running through the same settings that I applied to the RE20, just to get you an idea of direct, this is how I process this microphone, and this is how this microphone sounds through the same processing, just so you get an idea. The cool thing is the RE27ND is like the RE320 and the RE20. They all fit the same mounts. I could put the pop filter on here, but I'm not close enough and you're not really going to hear it for the most part anyway. They have really good built-in pop filters, but the same shock mount, everything like that fits across both. And so this is a general idea, and I'll go ahead and reread that quote. Invention, my dear friends, is 93% perspiration, 6% electricity, 4% evaporation, and 2% butterscotch ripple. I'm not good at this. I probably read it differently the second time, but just wanted to provide something here for you. So this is what it sounds like with the hardware processing on. And that's what it sounds like with the air conditioning on in the background. I guess I will switch microphones and get you a sample of that as well. And real quick, just for a point of comparison, this is what the RE20 sounds like with the exact same air conditioner on that was on in the previous microphone test. Honestly, judging by the waveform due to how not as hot, or how more hot the RE27 is, this honestly sounds a little like looking at the waveform, it's a little bit quieter with the AC on. That's a little crazy. All right, so there you have it. A fairly helpful, I hope, comparison between the RE20 and the RE27ND. As for my actual review of the RE27ND, I think it's a very good microphone. It sounds different. Like, the RE20 is what I'm used to hearing. It's what I'm used to hearing on AM radio. It's what I'm used to hearing in my own head when I do recordings. And so that flatter profile is kind of what I'm used to hearing and what sounds a little more comfortable for me. But I honestly think this microphone sounds a little bit better. It sounds a little bit better. That extra high end can help make your sound a little bit more natural compared to the RE20. But again, everything is subjective. I'm not an expert in the first place. You know, everyone has their own opinions about how microphones sound, and that's why I provide a few different sets of samples here for you to be able to tell for yourself which one you might prefer. Now, you might have heard a little bit of extra static in my RE20 audio here. That wasn't the microphone itself. When you buy one, it's fairly high quality, you know, well-engineered product. Sometimes when I'm switching microphones, the XLR cables and stuff, there's a little bit of added static to my audio rack because I have such a janky setup. I can't get around that, but mainly focus on the actual quality of the recordings. I'm also grateful that this microphone runs a little bit hotter. It makes it harder for me to really get like the preamp down to where I'm not clipping too much, but currently I think I have a good spot here, and that means that you're not using as much, you're not risking as much hissing or background electrical noise because you don't need to crank it up as much, which is something I run into if you try to run the RE20 by itself with no, you know, processing box or cloud lifter or whatever. I do think both of these microphones benefit tremendously from having processing applied as you record. I do think that is kind of important for this kind of workflow. The microphones themselves sound pretty good, but the extra dynamic range involved in the microphone only comes out if you process it and take advantage of that dynamic range. So I still might actually recommend the RE320 if you don't want to do that for whatever reason, at least initially. But as far as throwing it in an existing working setup, RE27 sounds great, and you have more switches to control your options, and it's a little bit shinier if that's what you like. So this has been my video on the RE27ND. Tried to cover it from a couple different perspectives, trying something new. I don't have the ability to hook them both up at the same time right now, unfortunately. Working with what I got. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, get subscribed for more awesome tech videos, check out the microphone reviews playlist in the YouTube card icon or description down below. I do have a wide plethora of microphone reviews on the channel. I'm always expanding, trying to cover more things. If you want to see a specific microphone covered, feel free to suggest in the description below. And if I can get to it, I'll get to it. Otherwise, I'm Epos Vox, and I'll see you next time. Epos Vox is a Patreon-supported production. Our videos would simply not be possible without the support and generosity of our patrons, whom you can see on screen right now. If you'd like to join the inner circle and get early access to videos among other things, go to patreon.com/eposvox to learn more.